Okay, today we're going to take some notes on writing and evaluating expressions, and these are going to be algebraic expressions. So a little while back we did a doodle note where we sorted different words for different operations. So we're going to do a little review of that real quick, but we're going to be turning some sentences into algebraic expressions, so it's helpful to know which words mean what operation when we're writing them. So let's start with sum. Sum is the answer to an addition problem. So if you see something that says the word sum, you know you're going to add. Quotient is the name for the answer to a division problem. So you see quotient, you know you're going to do a division problem. Let's add that in division. And anytime that you need to pause to write, just make sure you pause. Product is the answer to a multiplication problem. So if you see that, you know you're going to divide. And difference is subtraction, answer to a subtraction problem. So we're going to put that under subtraction. All right, let's go to the words, the other words that will help you decide whether you're going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Increasing is addition. That means that if you decrease, you're taking away, so that's subtraction. If you're going to do twice a number, you're going to multiply. And what are you going to multiply by? 2. So twice a number would look like 2n. Half a number, when you cut something in half, you're actually dividing. Half a number. And that might look like this, n divided by 2. And we're going to do our divisions with a fraction bar now. So half a number would be like taking a number and cutting it in half or dividing it by 2. If I have more than, that's addition. And down at the bottom, than is a turn around word. Remember that from our doodle notes. We said than is a turnaround word. If I am doing less than, so let's put little asterisks next to those with the thans. It's not as important with the addition as it is with the subtraction because you can't have any things in any order you want. Let's go to times. That's of course multiplication. Minus, of course, is subtraction. Plus, because these are words we use for those symbols, is addition. Divided by is also division. So that's just a review of the different words. Okay, let's go down to the bottom. So what we're going to do is break this apart. When it says 9 more than was the plus, right? But it has a turnaround word, so it's going to actually go in the opposite direction. When it says 9 more than, instead of 9 plus, we're going to do plus 9. So when you see the word than, you're going to turn around the number and the symbol. And it's more than the quotient of b and 4. Quotient being division. Quotient of b and 4. These I will write in the exact order. Now I have to put it all together. It's 9 more than this. So you could put b divided by 4 plus 9 this way, but as we start to learn algebra, we want to make sure that we start writing it like we would for algebra. I call it big kid math. So in algebra, you're always going to see the divisions using a fraction bar for the divide. Both are correct. 3 times a number plus 5 times that number. So the first thing is 3 times a number, which would be like 3n. And by the way, you can pick any letter you want, but I would pick letters that don't look like numbers. Then I'm going to plus something, right? What am I plussing? 5 times a number. So I like to break it apart. I like underlining the different parts, and then after I go back and put it together. I'm not real good about reading it one time through and automatically being able to just write what the expression is. A number increased by 6. Okay, increased means add, right? And then if I don't know the number, I just put a letter, and then you have a 6. So this one's just n plus 6. That was an easy one. 7 less than. So if it says less than, remember it's a turnaround word, so it's going to be a -7. What's it less than? Just a number. A number that I don't know, we're going to make it be n, right? So I got n minus 7. If it was the other direction, it would be incorrect. 2 times 8 more than a number. So this one is one where I need to times it by this whole amount. So if I have to write 8 more than, it's plus 8, so it's 8 more than a number, but I have times 2. So you want a plus first. Remember, if it's addition, you can't add first unless it's in parentheses. So this one would look like this. The quotient of 5 in a number increased by 2. So the quotient of 5 in a number is division. Oops, I did that backwards. Sorry. 5 in a number. So 5 divided by n. It has to be in this order because it doesn't have a than. So the only ones that switch order is if it has a than in it. And then increased by 2 would be a plus 2. So 5 divided by n increased by 2 would be plus 2, or you do 5 over n plus 2. Okay? 7 times, and then it says the difference between C and 3. So I need the difference between C and 3 to go together. That means subtracting. And then I'm going to 7 times it. So you can put a dot between, but you don't have to. In algebra, they don't put a symbol between a number and a parenthesis. You're supposed to automatically know that that means times. All right? Flip that over. All right, so we went over some of the terms that you would use for writing expressions. Now we're going to evaluate some. So we're going to go over a few algebra terms because this whole chapter is on algebra. The first one is variable, and I'm sure you've heard this word before. A variable is a letter used for an unknown number. Hard to write on this staple. Sorry. Used for an unknown number. A variable expression. Expressions are problems. They don't have an equal sign on them. If it has an equal sign, then that's going to be a equation. So an expression has no equal sign. So a variable expression is an expression, which I'm just going to put in parentheses, problem, that contains letters and numbers. So it could look like this, right? But it's any of the ones we wrote on the other page. All right, so it has a letter and a number. A numerical expression then would only contain numbers, so it might look like 3 plus 2. That's a numerical expression. Notice neither one of them has an equal sign. So a numerical expression is an expression containing only numbers. All right, and it can be any operation and any number of operations, but it's all numbers. So in the next part, we're going to evaluate for each expression. If P is 4 and N is 6, so P is going to be 4, N is going to be 6 for every one of these problems. When you see a number in front of a letter, that really means 5 times P plus 3. So when I replace that, it's going to now be 5 times 4 for P plus 3, because P up here we said was 4. We're going to have to use order of operations, which means we're going to multiply first, and we get 20 plus 3 is 23. So evaluate means to solve. Don't forget that part. All right? And if you need to, Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. And remember, those two are from left to right. All right, let's plug in, instead of 3p, it's 3 times 4 plus 2 times n is 6. So when I say I want you to show work, I'm going to want you to write the numerical expression. Replace the variables with numbers. You'll write the numerical expression, and then you'll show any work. Now I can, because this is divided by a plus here, it's separated by a plus, I can do both of those multiplies at the same time. So I can do 3 times 4 is 12 and 2 times 6 is 12, and then when I add those two together I get 24. P times n, there's a dot in between that one. Even if it didn't have a dot, it would still mean times. So there's 4 times 6, that one's easy, we just have to finish that 24. Number 4, I have 2 plus 4 times whatever n is 6, still 6. Again, order of operations, you can't go left to right yet because you have a multiplication. So that's going to be a 24. 2 plus 24 is 26. All right, we threw a negative in now. So now I have negative 5 times 6 plus negative 3 times 4. Okay, so now both of these multiplies could be done at the same time. Remember, when I have different signs, I get a negative answer. So that's negative 30. When I have different signs, I get a negative answer. So that's negative 12. Now it's a different rule for adding. When I have adding with same signs, I add 30 and 12, and I keep the same sign. All right, P minus 2 times 4 plus 6 for n. Oops, I forgot to, that's supposed to be a 4. Switch that. Forgot to do a 4. All right, so 4 minus 2 times 4 plus 6, because P is 4. All right, order of operations. I have to do the 2 times 4 first, and that's going to give me 8, and then the plus 6. Okay, for here, when you have a small number minus a big number and it's subtraction, you can keep, change, subtraction, right? So now I've got negative 4 plus 6, and that is 2. So you have to be careful. You will have some negative numbers now that we learned negative numbers. Okay, next page is the homework. This is the Fair Game Review worksheet. You are going to show work, first of all. And by work, I mean you're going to take these numbers and plug them in and show the numerical expression, and then any steps you need to show for order of operations. So if I was doing this problem, it's negative 4 times 2 for x times negative 3 for y, and then you would solve. And this is all multiplication, so you could do it in any order you want. So don't forget, evaluate means to plug in numbers and solve. Okay, that's what the evaluate means. Plug in your numbers and solve. So on the front side, those are the first 7. I expect to see numerical expressions, and then you're going to show any work you need to show for order of operations when you have a really long problem. Flip that over. On the back, 8 through 13 wants you to write the phrase as an algebraic expression. So when it says the sum, excuse me, you have to remember that sum means add 8 and a number y. Now I said you can pick any letter you want. They're telling you what letter to pick, but if you used a different letter, as long as you wrote the expression correct, that would still be okay. All right, so you'll write the algebraic expression. Once you write it, you're done. Because if I write the sum I'm adding, right, of 8 and a number y, you're done. It doesn't tell you what any of the letters are equal to, so you can't solve this side. Good luck.